All right, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate from this particular group of fans, but I don't care because I feel like I need to say this. Habib Nurmagomedov is creating one of the largest grifter fan bases in the UFC right now, and that is the Arman Tsarukyan fans. Right? Let's be real. When has Arman Tsarukyan had this many fans? Right? It feels like all of a sudden, after Arman Tsarukyan has done nothing ever since he pulled out of his fight with Islam Makhachev, his fandom exploded because, oh, he's the true number one contender. Oh, Arman Tsarukyan is being fucked by the champion, Ilya Topuria. Oh, Ilya Topuria doesn't deserve a fight with Islam Makhachev. He needs to go through Arman Tsarukyan first. Notice how Arman Tsarukyan fans, most of them, all they talk about is, oh, Ilya Taporia shouldn't fight Islam Makhachev. He needs to fight Arman Tsarukyan first. All right, these guys aren't actual Arman Tsarukyan fans. These guys are a subsection of Islam Makhachev fans that are worried, right, that Ilya Taporia might knock out Islam Makhachev if they ever fight. Right, I'm not saying that's for certain, but it is a possibility. And these subsection of Islam Makhachev fans are all of a sudden trying to portray themselves as Arman Tsarukyan fans. And I'm going to go over today why, simply put, these people are grifters, why you should not believe that these guys are actual Arman Tsarukyan fans, and also Khabib Nurmagomedov's points about Arman Tsarukyan, because he really believes that Arman Tsarukyan should be a 4-1 favorite against Ilya Topuria. Right? I'm going to address how ridiculous of a statement that is, even though Khabib Nurmagomedov, I get it, he's one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. That don't mean he's right in this situation, and we're gonna explain why by going through this video.
Давай предположим, что все случилось, Царукян с Топурей дерутся. Ты кого видишь фаворитом в этом бою?
Я не вижу шансов у Топори.
То есть ты считаешь, что
Я
Арман
ему
нападает,
ударки
да?
тоже не даю. Арман слишком дистанционно дерется. С ударниками держит дистанцию хорошо, ногами лучше работает.
Okay, first off, he keeps his distance well, works better with his kicks. All right, this is how you know that Khabib Nurmagomedov doesn't watch Arman Tsarukyan fights, because when has Arman Tsarukyan ever done that? All right, let's take a look at Arman Tsarukyan's matches real quick. All right, he beat Charles Oliveira by taking him down and just using ground and pound to try and cause damage. All right, and Arman Tsarukyan won that fight. Against Beneil Dariush, he knocked him out with a straight right hand and proceeded to ground and pound Beneil Dariush into the Shadow Realm. Joaquin Silva, same thing, took him down, ground and pound, third round TKO. Amirs Magulov, ragdolled him, tried to get him out with ground and pound, didn't work out, but ragdolled him using the wrestling. When has Arman Tsarukyan ever won a fight using his kicks? Right? He got a kick KO in his regional scene, but in the UFC, Arman Tsarukyan, right? Forget even a KO with a head kick or like a body kick TKO or even a leg kick TKO. Arman Tsarukyan has never won a fight primarily using his kicks. Arman Tsarukyan primarily wins his fights by taking opponents down over and over again and closing the distance with his punches. Right? Okay, sure. If you want to say Arman Tsarukyan understands the distance on how to get into the pocket and get his takedowns, that is a valid point to state. But he does not work well off the back foot using his kicks. That is simply retarded. And okay, Khabib Nurmagomedov again, one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. That don't mean he's right in this situation, because data shows Arman Tsarukyan does not fight like that. All right, but we're gonna continue.
И сейчас уже Арман слишком хорошо, он уже, у него есть материал, который он может посмотреть и хорошо изучить. Если 3 боя назад, если он с ним дрался, может, он не так опасался. Но сейчас уже видно то, чего можно опасаться от Топори.
Okay, Khabib Nurmagomedov's talking about footage on Ilya Topuria as if there isn't footage on Arman Tsarukyan as well, right? I feel like Arman Tsarukyan has looked more human than Ilya Topuria, right? Ilya Topuria has been knocking everybody out left and right. Meanwhile, Arman Tsarukyan, like, people have been able to stuff his takedowns, and people have been almost being able to choke him out. Charles Oliveira got a guillotine and almost choked out Arman Tsarukyan if Arman Tsarukyan wasn't cheating and trying to pull the pants down of Charles Oliveira. Right? Look, watch that fight. It clearly happened. So I don't want to hear Habib claim that because there's footage on Ilia Topuria, Arman Tsarukyan will automatically know how to avoid the punches. What the fuck is everyone else doing? Right? It's simply retarded that Habib Nurmagomedov stating this, but we're gonna continue.
Считаю, что в данный момент лучший боец в легком весе это Топорья.
Ты про Царукяна.
Yeah, you see that right there? I believe right now the best lightweight is Poria, right? Habib Nurmagomedov doesn't even believe in his own lie right now, right? And sure, you might say he mixed it up, all right? Maybe he meant Tsarukyan. But realistically, if you're trying to campaign for one guy to be the best in the world, all right? I'm not gonna really try to make a mistake out of him. All right, maybe I'm reading too much into this, but again, I feel like Habib Nurmagomedov knows he's lying, which is why he just said that Ilia Topuria is the best lightweight in the world, even though he technically meant that it's Arman Tsarukyan.
Лучший боец в легком весе это Топорья.
Ты про Царукяна.
Да, я про
Царукян.
Царукян.
Выиграет он при этом за счет борьбы, правильно?
За счет ММА стиля.
Но,
Это не вольная борьба.
но будет проходить, да? То есть-
Арман может повалить, у него хорошие локти в партере. Очень хороший локти. Может бороться, разбаривать, спину забирать.
Okay, this is the next statement from Habib Nurmagomedov I want to address. He can grapple, submit, take the back. Right? Let's look through Arman Tsarukyan's fights again. Where is a submission win? Like in the UFC, Arman Tsarukyan has 0 submission wins. Right? He has not come close to submitting anybody in the UFC. All right. I know he got a couple of rear naked chokes in the regional scene over here. All right. I don't really count those because, first off, they were in fucking 2017, which is like 8 years ago. And second off, the UFC is just much better than like regional level promotions. So, as far as I'm concerned, Arman Tsarukyan does not have this elite level submission game to where like Khabib Nurmagomedov saying, Arman Tsarukyan will win using his grappling submission game and take the back. When has Arman Tsarukyan ever submitted someone? When has Arman Tsarukyan ever effectively taken the back of a person and just hold them down there for 5 minutes? All right. We all know that Tsarukyan can grapple. All right. I'm not going to deny that. I believe that Tsarukyan has a very efficient grappling game, and he is one of the best anti-submission grapplers in the UFC right now. But when has Tsarukyan ever grappled to where he gets a submission win? It just simply hasn't happened in the UFC. I know he got a submission win over Patricky Pitbull in like some grappling tournament. I don't care about that because it's Patricky Pitbull and it's in a random grappling competition. It's not in an MMA fight in the UFC. All right. As far as I'm concerned, right, Arman Tsarukyan has 0 submission wins in the UFC, and therefore this statement is complete bullshit.
А вот в эту опасную дистанцию с Топурей просто не зайдет.
Не зайдет, слишком уже есть бои, он уже может посмотреть, изучить. Я например, 80/20.
I'd say it's 80% to 20% in Arman's favor. Where's Khabib Nurmagomedov getting these odds? Right? Like, I don't know how Khabib Nurmagomedov came up with those numbers. Right? Let's just say that Arman Tsarukyan might be Ilia Topuria. All right? Are you confident that it's gonna be 4-1 favorite for Arman Tsarukyan? Right? Let's look at a common opponent that both of these guys had in Charles Oliveira. Right? Arman Tsarukyan went to a split decision with Charles Oliveira, where Charles Oliveira was almost able to submit Arman Tsarukyan, and Arman Tsarukyan won the fight by staying in Charles Oliveira's guard and landing a few ground and pound shots. Right? And he almost got submitted in the 3rd round as well, where Charles Oliveira was about to lock up a Darce, but Tsarukyan was barely able to survive in order to win the round. Ilia Topuria, on the other hand, knocked out Charles Oliveira in the first round. And not only that, Charles Oliveira was trying to play his guard game, his elite guard game, that almost submitted Arman Tsarukyan, and Charles Oliveira couldn't do anything. Matter of fact, Ilia Topuria cut through Charles Oliveira's guard like butter. So, although you can say, "Oh, styles make fights," and "Oh, uh, Arman Tsarukyan is a much better wrestler than Charles Oliveira," are you that confident where Arman Tsarukyan should be a 4-1 favorite, right? Because we could just use the eye test. Like, the eye test says that Ilia Topuria is much better based on the common opponent they have. And I know that, again, styles make fights. But from what I've seen, Ilia Topuria just looks much more impressive against the same opposition. So, where is Khabib Nurmagomedov coming up with 4-1 favorite for Arman Tsarukyan? I have no idea, right? It quite frankly sounds biased for some reason, but I don't know. All right, Khabib Nurmagomedov, one of the greatest fighters in mixed martial arts. All right, I'm just a guy yapping on YouTube. What do I know?
Вижу победителем Армана. Я считаю, что его борьба, его прессинг, его габарит, это тоже надо учитывать. Он выше, но почти на 10 сантиметров, если не ошибаюсь.
He's taller by almost 10 centimeters. When has that ever mattered in an Ilia Topuria fight? Right? Arman Tsarukyan's taller by 10 centimeters. Congrats. All right. Ilia Topuria knocked out Charles Oliveira, who's like 3 inches taller than Ilia Topuria. He knocked out Max Holloway, who's also 3 inches taller than Ilia Topuria. He knocked out Bryce Mitchell. Oh no, he submitted Bryce Mitchell, who's an elite level wrestler, who's like 3 inches taller than Ilia Topuria. He knocked out Jai Herbert, who was like 5 inches taller than Ilia Topuria. Like, 10 centimeters? Like, we're really using 10 centimeters as the reason to why Arman Tsarukyan will have that big of a physicality difference against Ilia Topuria. Like, what the fuck are we talking about here, Khabib Nurmagomedov? Like, every single elite level opponent, other than Volkanovski, that Ilia Topuria fought, was a lot taller than him. So, Arman Tsarukyan being taller by 10 centimeters means nothing. But maybe it does, according to one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time.
И он больше него весом, и в день боя он будет больше него.
Again, being heavier. When has that mattered? Right? When has that mattered in an Ilia Topuria fight specifically? Right? Charles Oliveira was supposed to be much heavier and bigger than Ilia Topuria. And Ilia Topuria turned Charles Oliveira to Swiss cheese. Right? Maybe Arman Tsarukyan might put up more resistance. Again, Tsarukyan is more of like a stocky fighter, but is he that much bigger than Ilia Topuria, where that frame is gonna be the primary reason as to why Arman Tsarukyan's gonna win? No, it's not. So Khabib Nurmagomedov, I don't know why he's yapping on about Arman Tsarukyan's frame and size, as if he's just that much bigger than Ilia Topuria. But we're gonna carry on anyways.
Ну и, конечно, борьба, она всегда рулила. Особенно, когда такие бои бывают. Мы все мы знаем, какая борьба у Холлоуэя и какая борьба у последнего Чарльза Оливера. У них ее практически нет. Они ударники. Они пошли на рожон и хапнули свои.
Okay, again, this is how you know that Khabib Nurmagomedov doesn't watch fights, because he yapping stuff like this, all right? In his fight with Max Holloway did not fight on the front foot and get caught, all right? Max Holloway tried to evade the shots, fight off the back foot, and then got caught in the third round, right? Max Holloway wasn't the one pressing the action, moving forward, and then getting caught. That was just Charles Oliveira. So again, Khabib Nurmagomedov yapping a lot of shit, right? Even though he's one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time, all right? The videotape proves he is wrong in this situation.
Человек, который взял ногу, поборолся, взял корпус, поборолся.
то,
С
что
такими
Topuria has faced that, all right? This is one of the worst takes I've heard from Khabib Nurmagomedov right now, right? He fought Bryce Mitchell, and I get that Bryce Mitchell isn't the level of Arman Tsarukyan. I completely understand that. Bryce Mitchell is a primary wrestler who was ranked level in the featherweight division, and Ilia Topuria submitted Bryce Mitchell. So I don't understand where Khabib Nurmagomedov's coming up with, oh, he has no ground game. Oh, he hasn't fought a wrestler before. Oh, he like doesn't know how to submit people. Like he has a submission win over a primary grappler. Like what more do you want him to do at this point? Right? I feel like Khabib Nurmagomedov at this point is just like blatantly trying to be dumb, or he's just lying through his teeth. I don't know which one it is, but it's clear that Khabib Nurmagomedov is just lying in this situation.
Да, с такими он не дрался, он дрался со всеми ударниками. Волконовский не борется, другие не борются. Ну,
Volkanovski does wrestle. I understand that Volkanovski didn't wrestle in his fight with Topuria, but Volkanovski is known for mixing in takedowns when he needs to. Right? He mixed takedowns against Yair Rodriguez. He mixed takedowns against Diego Lopez. He mixed in takedowns against Max Holloway. He mixed in takedowns against Brian Ortega. Where is Khabib Nurmagomedov coming up with Volkanovski doesn't wrestle? If anything, Volkanovski did really well against Islam Makhachev in terms of defensive wrestling, right? Maybe Islam Makhachev doesn't wrestle then, right? Because Volkanovski couldn't really get submitted, and Islam Makhachev didn't really have that much success in taking down Volkanovski that much, right? Quit yapping a lot of shit, Habib Nurmagomedov.
с кем он дрался? Просто назови хоть одного, хоть чуть-чуть, хоть даже не 50%, который хоть 20% использует борьбу. Ну, интересный бой будет. Я считаю, что, ну, я знаю, что UFC опасаются, не хотят его так быстро убирать, Топурию. По-любому, он как медийная личность в данный момент
И
лучше,
поэтому, может,
больше, чем Арман. Ну, если даже вылезет сейчас, что сейчас, Арман, если один бой выиграет, куда
All right, this is the last point I'm going to address about this video. All right, it's about up. All right, Habib Nurmagomedov is basically saying if Arman gets one more win, the UFC won't be able to hide him. Let me tell you this, Habib Nurmagomedov. Right? You see, this is Arman Tsarukyan's like fight history on Tapology. His last fight was in April 13th, 2024. It is now August 25th of 2025. It's been a year and 4 months, and Arman Tsarukyan has yet to have any fight news. I understand he had that matchup with Islam Makhachev before he pulled out, right? He has not had any sort of fight news since. If anything, the UFC has made it abundantly clear that Arman Tsarukyan is not getting the next title shot unless he wins one more fight. And Arman Tsarukyan has so far denied a fight with Gamrot, and he has yet to make any announcements about fighting in the UFC anytime soon. So it's not the UFC trying their best to hide Arman Tsarukyan from the public and Ilya Topuria. No, Arman Tsarukyan is doing a damn good job of hiding from the UFC and hiding from fighting anybody right now. That isn't a free title shot, despite like missing weight for his previous bout against Islam Makhachev and just not fighting for over a year. This is where I'm gonna end this video by saying this. If you're picking Islam Makhachev to beat Ilya Topuria, even though I disagree, I have nothing against you. If anything, I think it makes sense to pick Islam Makhachev to beat Ilya Topuria. All right. What I have a problem with, and the problem I'm addressing in this specific video, are the subsection of Islam Makhachev fans that like are worried that Ilya Topuria might fight Islam Makhachev in the future and possibly knock him out. So they're automatically drifting towards the Arman Tsarukyan fan base, pretending to be Arman Tsarukyan fans and pushing Arman Tsarukyan as this undeniable contender. Right? These are the same people who have been making fun of Arman Tsarukyan after he pulled out of his fight against Islam Makhachev. These are the same people. Now, all of a sudden, after Arman Tsarukyan's had 0 fights over 7 months since his initial pullout, now Arman Tsarukyan is one of their favorite guys. Now Arman Tsarukyan is this undeniable contender. Now Ilya Topuria is ducking Arman Tsarukyan. Like, nobody cared about Arman Tsarukyan until now. All right, now that Ilya Topuria is in talks of fighting Islam Makhachev, if Islam Makhachev beats JDM and Ilya Topuria continues to do what he does in the lightweight division, now Arman Tsarukyan's all of a sudden undeniable. All right, I don't know why that is, right? And I know I'm gonna get a lot of shit from these fans, right? These fans are known for threatening people on the regular basis, and I'm very sure that I'm gonna get a lot of threats in the comment section below. I don't care because I'm right. You can't prove me wrong using data, using like any of these videos, using any like footage from fights, all right, you're not proving me wrong. Okay. And if you want to debate me, I'll be happy to do so in the comment section below. But you're definitely not proving me wrong in this point. So yeah, this is where I'm gonna end this video. All right. Other than that though, like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. But other than that though, I'll see you guys later. Peace.